Clean, sharp, straighty like an engine. Running 24/7 on go. Pulling fade up like a string in a bow. Any mountain to a mid, just another road. Leaves his mark everywhere like a beast.
Guys, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm very excited to show off my X-1 profile with Heroes. We brought this to locals the other day, and I gotta say it performed extremely well. We only had one game where we just hard bricked, but after seeing what my opponent's hand was, I don't think we would have made that anyway. So other than that, the deck is performing very well. This is a 60 card build, and I've been kind of staying with this idea ever since, you know, the new Mass Heroes kind of came out, and I think 60 is the new 40 when it comes to this deck. It's basically like a hero pile, and I think it just flows very well. But other than that, let's jump into it, and I hope you guys enjoy. So starting with the main deck, we are doing 3 Element Hero Stratos. So a lot of decks are cutting this to 2, and I think that's still the wrong idea. I think you want to see as many starters as possible, and in this deck you really do have a bunch of them, and I think you need to facilitate your plays as much as possible, especially if you're playing just 2 Stratos and you do have the ejector. You want to be able to do that double Stratos and able to search out everything you can possible. And I think Stratos not being once per turn is just so phenomenal. So I think maxing out on 3, I mean, in 60 I do think you do 3 anyway, but I think even if I was playing a smaller build, I would still max out at 3 just to try to see as many starters as possible. And then moving forward, we do the 3 Miracle Ejector. I still think this is a mandatory 3 of. Yeah, I think you're only going to use this effect one time, but the fact that you can still see it in your opening hand is still just phenomenal, because you can facilitate most of your plays just off of this card. Is it the #1 starter? No, but I will argue that it's one of your better starters, and I think any chance to see more starters in your opening hand, it just makes it phenomenal. And it's free, you know, it's a free summon, and it just gets your plays going. I think it's amazing. Plus it's an extra elemental hero, so if you don't have that other target to go with your Neos to kind of jumpstart some of your plays, you know, that comes in handy for that. On top of that, it's a DD Crow, so you can banish something out of your opponent's graveyard. There's many times I sent it to the graveyard and I banished out their Ecclesia Dragon, so definitely can use it for things like that. And then the one to Aqua Dolphin, I don't think running more of it helps. I do think it, you know, you want to keep the bricks as minimal as possible. We all know that Heroes are just a deck that bricks, and you want to see as less of them as possible. I mean, yeah, you know, if this goes to the graveyard and then you can't really get it back, then it is what it is. You know, that definitely doesn't kill the deck, but like I said before, you're really only using this one time, and then if it does go off and you get the shuffle effect with Ian Shuffle, then you can just put it back in the deck for that. Something different, we're doing 2 Shadow Mist. So I am finding that this came in clutch. This was the MVP of the deck yesterday. Believe it or not, this was the MVP. I found myself so many times discarding this from Furnace or Ferris, or using it in a poly, doing whatever, and then in my grind game I was able to use the second one. So shout out to my boy Alan. He is a subscriber to the channel, and he came up and said hey the other day, and I faced him in my round 4 matchup. Super dope guy, super awesome, and is so very pleased to meet him. And he was just a very cool and chill guy. I can't wait to see him at one of our next locals. But in our match against him, you know, I pulled out the second one. He was just like, bro, you know, like, I kind of wasn't expecting the second Shadow Mist, and you know, it came up clutch, and it just did so very well. It really showed its true colors of having that extra card. So having something extra you can send for cost, you know, if you happen to go through your Vion line again, you have something to send to get more into your other combo pieces. So this came up clutch, and I do recommend trying this out if you're going to 60. If you're playing a smaller build, then yeah, obviously I don't think you want to go double in this, but I think for your 60 card build, this is probably what you need to go to. And then to round out the Elemental Heroes, we have the Neos. So going forward with the Vision package, we do 3 Ferris. I still don't think you should cut this card. I see a lot of deck profiles, they're cutting this. It's not a 1 card starter. It is I would say 1.5 card starter, because you do need another card to discard off of it. But at the same time, like, you have so many heroes in this deck, you're more than likely going to see this card. And I mean, back in the day, like, you can argue this is old, okay, fine, but at the same time, if we don't open up anything else and we have this and another hero, then this just jumpstarts our play as if the deck never got the other support. So this gets you into your full board just like the other cards do, and I think it's very necessary, especially with the amount of hero bricks that we play. And then we do the 2 Vion and then the 1 increase. And I mean, guys, like, I found the 2 of my hands the other day, I had increase in my opening hand, I still go full combo. And so, like, drawing this isn't the worst thing anymore. And then it's just discard fodder for your stuff that just discards to summon or discards to search. Because then if you take battle damage, it's just going to come to your spell and trap card zone, and then you can start your play the very next turn if you're able. So I definitely don't see a drawback to it anymore. For the Destiny package, we do 3 Malicious and 1 Denier. I did take out the Plasma. I moved that to the side deck, you know, spoilers, but I think this is the right ratio for it, especially with the amount of cards we have in the deck that are just getting this in the graveyard. This really doesn't feel too complicated anymore. There was even hands where I would draw into a Malicious and you had the discard for it. So I will say, in my last 10 to 15 matches, I've only had one singular game where I've just had a hard brick, and that was yesterday. And it had nothing to do with these cards. It was with my side decking, to be honest with you. But for the Destiny Heroes, that is going to be it. For the Masked Heroes, we decided to change things up a little bit. 1 Crow, we're on 2 Fountain, and then we are on 3 Furnace. So this is going to look a little crazy to a lot of players, but hear me out on it. So a lot of players are cutting the Ferris package, the Vision package, because they feel like we have Fountain. We don't need the Vision package anymore. Well, this essentially does the same thing that Ferris does, except you don't discard, you just reveal special, where the other one you just discard special. So you basically have 5 Ferris now. So like, you reveal this, summon a hero. Now this isn't a starter by no means, just like Ferris isn't a starter by itself. You know, it's just more layers. It gives you more layers into your board. It's a different attribute, so if you need to use it to go into Sunrise, to get into your Miracle Fusion and stuff like that, and then obviously when you do that, you can get your mass change. And then the 3 Furnace, this was so good. This is so good, especially when you're siding, and I'll go over that too. When you do your siding patterns, something I've been trying out, and it's nothing new, a lot of hero players do it, is I side out my 3 Malicious because I don't want to see any more bricks going second. I want to see my engine cards and all that. So with having 3 Furnace in your deck, your Fusion Destiny is still alive. So this has so many purposes that you can use it for. And then if you're only playing 1, okay, and then you use its effective special back, and then you banish it when it leaves the field, then you're basically just saying goodbye to a piece to get into your other fusions. So having multiple, it just comes up so good. I definitely recommend running 3. It has worked very well for me. It opens up so many plays. It makes it to where every hand just feels playable. Now obviously it is hero, so there's a chance you can draw into a bricky hand. Like I said, the other day I drew into Ian Shuffle, Mass Change, Plasma, Dark Angel, and Neos. Like there's just no play in that hand. Like, it was so bad. But outside of that, I mean, this deck just ran phenomenal. Every single person that I've ran into that has seen the deck run, like, they're just amazed at just how much gas the deck has. And I do think that running these 3, the 2 Shadow Mist, and then bumping this to 2, like, I've just seen so much more, and it just layers the deck just so much better. And that's it for the monsters. So on to the spells. We still do 3 Hero Lives. It's the best starter in the deck, and it's the Ash Bait. It's basically what helps kind of get hand traps out of your opponent's hands. And then if they don't have it, they don't have the goods, then this is just going to go off. This is just going to eat your opponent alive. We were kind of talking about this the other day. Fusion Destiny is a starter, but it's not your best starter because it doesn't layer your board like your regular heroes do. But this is your last line of activation, and if they basically stop everything and then this is your last card, then yes, it becomes probably the best starter in the deck because it still gets you to DPE Dark Law Contrast. It's so good. The locking you in the darks thing, it sucks, it does, but at the end of the day, if I'm able to get this off and they're out of hand traps, or they've used up all of their negates to kind of stop you, then you're breaking their board. Like, there's no getting around it. We have 2 Polymerization. I think 2 is the right number, and I found myself always needing the second poly. I definitely wouldn't do more than two. I think three becomes a little cloggy, and one's not enough. Although you can kind of reuse this with driver, even if you do the one poly and then you reset it, set it with driver, you still have the one in deck to kind of get you onto more pushes. One Miracle Fusion and one Mass Change. I haven't sold myself on running two of this in the main deck yet. I do think Dark Law is an absolute killer in this format, especially with some of the decks. You know, like Elf Note can't deal with Dark Law because they just can't banish anything. They can't really get their graveyard effects, obviously, but I do think just having the one is fine, because then you can just reset it off of driver and then your fountain gets this to the field. So that's another reason I run two fountain, is because it gets you into your mass chains just a little easier. For round out the spells, we got one E in shuffle. I do two E-Call, one Rhoda, and one Foolish. So like these are all these are starters. Like these gets you into your cards that start. You know, does it play more in a draw? Sure, but at the same time, heroes are going to play in the draw regardless, and that you just kind of have to live with the results. And to round out the main engine, we have Favorite Contact. On to the hand traps. We have 18 non-engine in this deck, which is very, very good, and I think it's the right amount. We do 3 Ash, 3 Veiler. We do 2 Ghost Bell, 2 Droll. These I felt were the best for really my local area. Will this be the best lineup to do like at a YCS or for Worlds or something like that? Maybe not. But I do think with Branded and these other decks running around, Ghost Bell is very, very good. Ash is excellent. I would say Veiler would be the one card. I think if I had crowns, maybe I would maybe cut Veiler, but basically my thought process to kind of just round this out, we do 3 Imperms, 3 Droplets, and the last 2 are 1 Talent and 1 Called By. But to kind of explain this is I basically just wanted cards that kind of just say no and then they negate. So like this was kind of to help me board break and to obviously get bricks out of the hand. And then these just negate stuff that your opponent wants to do. And this, you know, obviously Droll stops your opponent from the turn stoppers. Like these are basically turn stoppers. And then this just tells your opponent no, like you're not going to do this. And then like my first thought process was like I wanted to have more breakers, you know, like I wanted to be able to kind of eat away at their board, but at the same time they're putting up boards that just cannot be just broken with regular breakers. Now, and maybe that just shows the inexperience I have running too many breakers, but I found that the hand trap version of this deck works very, very well, and stopping your opponent at certain situations just kind of works. For a case tournament last week, I played against my good buddy Owen. He plays Magical Meltdown, whatever the invoked engine plays for the field spell, and you ash the field spell, he had to set 1 pass. Like little things like that in this format can really make a difference, you know, and that's just how these other meta decks are kind of working right now. But that is it for the main deck. That is 60 cards. For the extra deck, we run 2 of the Boy. We have 2 Dark Law. The card is just so good, and especially if you can get 2 out, and then if they search, you can rip 2 out of the hand. Banishes everything, you know, it's just so good. Like, and it gives you a lot of protection. And like this on board, they can't use Droplet on you, so like that alone is just so good. They're having to use Crown on it, they're having to use their Imperms on it, like they're having to eat away at this because they can't handle having everything banished. To go along with him, we have 2 Chaos. We do 1 Shining Neos, 1 Infernal Rage, 1 Sunrise, and then the 1 Voltic Thunder. We do 1 DPE, 1 Trinity. We didn't use this all day. I wanted to use this so bad. I so bad wanted to go into this. I'm not sure if I want to cut it or not, because it's not the only extra deck monster that I didn't use today, the other day. But in the last, almost every match I've played over the last few weeks, I haven't used Trinity 1 time. And so I do think it may be time to just move on from him and try something different. Probably Decimator is probably what it'll end up going to. We have 2 Cross Crusader. 2 of them came up a lot. There were so many times where they would stop the first one and then I would just go into the second one and just continue comboing. as if I never lost the first one. One driver, one divisor, and then the one Baguska. I also did not go in this all day, anytime ever. So like, I do think there's going to be some wiggle room, you know, between that and the I don't even know where it's at, the Trinity. So these are definitely two slots that you can, you know, put your own twist on, you know, to try out something different with the extra deck. And with the side, there are definitely some things in here I'm going to change going forward. So one Judgment, one Plasma, one Dark Angel. So like I said in the other day, one of my hands was Dark Angel, Plasma, Neos, Ian Shuffle, and Mass Change. So like there was nothing I could do with that hand. It's like I saw my side cards. Of course, in a 60 card build, I don't want to see these. I'd like to search these, but at the same time, they had their purpose. There was obviously a couple games where Plasma just ate, and then having this on the other field, you know, like it just did so good. So like that's basically, these are my first, like, going first options. We have 3 Fua. I like Fua in the side. I don't think Fua is as good this format, especially since some of these decks just like they can play around this. Like, yeah, they're good. If you do this, they're going to make some half boards. But I found in my experience that if I'm going first or second in game 1, I think I would rather just have the hand traps, because going first, you know, if they say, like, if I like normal Stratos and that's my only play or something like that, and they ash it, and then I'm sitting there with, you know, 3 Fuas in hand and a Poly, you know, like I can't do anything. I can't even use these. These become dead cards going first. So going second, if I had Ash, Valor, Imperm, something like that, then I think I'd rather see that. That's the reasoning behind having this on the side. Now going second, oh yeah, absolutely. These are jumping in the deck. 2 Dark Ruler. Surprisingly, this has been 50-50. There have been moments where this has come up very, very well, and then there's moments where this does not help at all. Like, you know, they'd had the Speller Trap that negates it, and it just didn't do anything for me. Regeki, never saw it once. Feather Dusters in there for the back row decks. Never saw that once. These will stay. I'm still on the fence about Dark Ruler. It may end up staying, but the one thing that will not be in the side deck going forward is Evenly Matched. I, number one, never see it, and a lot of times I don't even go to it, because I just feel like I'd rather just have Dark Ruler or something like that, just to shut the board down, break the board, and then set up for that turn 4 or whatever, turn 3. And then my tech that I've been sticking with is Druid Swarm and Magma Hut. So this against branded and even cool tune matchups like this just eats. Especially, and then you got Ritual Light and Darkness, like this just eats. And, you know, going second, you know, like this is just killer. You know, like you get you another body on board. This can search this to kind of give you some follow-up, and it's just amazing. But outside of that, that is the deck profile, and going forward, I don't think I'm going to change anything in the main deck. The main deck was, it just flows so good, and then the deck, it felt like every game I could play. The only time I couldn't play was when I sided, and when you side in more bricks, you have a chance to see more bricks, and that's what happened. So going forward, things could change, maybe pick up some different side deck cards. But outside of that, the extra deck was almost flawless other than these two. Just never had situations where I could even get to them. And then for the side, yeah, that's where most of the changes are gonna come. But outside of that, guys, the deck has ran phenomenally. It has done so well. And, you know, shout out to my locals, because they're the ones that keep pushing the deck to get better, because they play top tier decks and they're top tier players. So all you can do is get better playing with these guys, constantly bouncing off ideas on what we can do to make decks better. And it has been such a blast to play Yu-Gi-Oh! This has been some of the most fun times I've had playing these last few months, and the deck is performing extremely well. So definitely look to see more profiles in the future. And if you guys have anything to add, if you think of different things we can maybe put in the deck, you know, let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the deck. And outside of that, guys, I don't have anything else for you. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you enjoy content like this, definitely leave a comment down below and subscribe to the channel. Until then, Heroes Best Deck.